And I'm going to give you the number one tip for using all of these, including Google AI Studios. Get your prompt right from the start. So I've spent the last few weeks playing with vibe coding and all the different apps that are available, Lovable, Base44, now the new Google AI Studios. And I'm making this video to help everyone who are mugs like me, who want to get into this but don't understand where the benefits of the different apps are and which ones to use and why would you use this and why would you not use that. And so I'm going to break it down really simply and just explain in a way that I wish I understood and hadn't spent $300 trying to find out what the difference is between these apps and why I'd use these apps and why I generally probably would recommend Lovable or Base44 for mugs wanting to make an easy app over, say, Google AI Studios and definitely Cursor. So the big difference between, and this is for absolute beginners, if you're a coder out there and you know this, just move to the next video. This is not for you, but the big difference between these apps is back-end and front-end functions. So that basically means a back-end function's happening in the app, front-end function's happening in the user's computer. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I think it is. And the big difference between these different apps is the way that they use what's called databases. And a database is what stores the information that the user of your app is providing to use the app. So for instance, if you were wanting to create an app that helps authors edit their work, as they're putting that information into the interface that you're building through these apps, it needs to be stored somewhere. And if it's stored in like Google AI, so I'll get to this later, in Google AI Studio, it stores it in the front end. And there's a big problem with that, in that if the user refreshes their browser, they're going to lose all the stored data. That's if you haven't connected Google AI Studio to a database. And if you're not familiar with databases, it's basically just, as I said, the way where the information is stored from the inputs from the user. So we're creating an app that helps a writer edit their work. And so when they submit a bit of copy to it, it needs to be stored somewhere, especially if they want to come back to it later and go to it. So this is the strength of Base44 and Lovable and these apps, that they have the vibe coding allows you to create databases in their platform. People say they're expensive. People say that you're locked into subscriptions with these guys. Yeah, that's true. But the benefit of them is you have inbuilt databases in there. So Base44, as you to get through Base44 and Lovable, you can build what are called back-end functions that allow the apps to do some more sophisticated things in calling different APIs out and different things from the internet, but it's still having that pre-built database function in them makes them incredibly valuable for mugs like us who are just wanting to create something easy. Because now if we move to Google AI Studio, it's amazing because it can connect directly to the Google suite of products. So whether it's Google Maps, VO3, Nano Banana, it has automatically got these integrations in it. Created one the other day that was said, build me an app that finds restaurants in the area that I can use as sales leads to go and approach to sell a product to. And so it built an app, it integrated with Google Maps, it integrated with Google Reviews. I was able to filter those results to find restaurants with lower reviews. So Google AI Studio is amazing for building apps that use the Google products. It's all built in there. But these are apps that happen on the front, for a mug, they happen in the front end of the user's computer. So if you were to build an app that said help a writer to edit their writing in Google Studio, when they would use the app, chances are they might lose their data as they're going along. It can't store it. There's no inbuilt functionality for Open Google Studios to store the data as it goes. So this makes it a weakness not for the AI Studio. It makes it a weakness for mugs who are wanting to just do something easy, because then you need to start building back-end functions in Google AI Studios to save this data. And you can look into it and you can learn anything on YouTube. You can learn how to do brain surgery. But if you're wanting to do something immediately that requires data being stored, then you need to use either the vibe coding apps of Base44 or Lovable, those sort of things. There's a couple of others. Or Google AI Studios, you need to learn how to use Firebase or another database that can store this data, and that requires a little bit more work. The other benefit though, if we're looking at, say for instance, you have a really good idea that takes off and ends up with heaps and heaps and heaps of users, then the benefit of Google Studio is that you can download your app, and you can download your app instantly and have it hosted in your server. You can take it out of Google AI Studio and put it onto your onto your server. You can create it. So that way, if it grows, you can ensure that you're not going to be hit with any limits or anything like that. Whereas in Lovable and Base44, because you are hosting your app on their server, in their platform, there's not much data. They say they're pretty good, and I'm sure they're pretty good, and anything I've built has never come across it. But there may be limits when, say, 500 people are using your app at once trying to access, read and write these databases. There's been instances of it timing out and stuff like that. So this is where Google AI Studio is good, is that you can build your app, you can link it within all of these Google functions that are amazing, and then if it grows and is good, you can take it offline. And then if you have integrated these databases into it, they're already set up ready just to go over. So in a nutshell, if you are a mug like me and you want to build something that has complex back-end functions like writing to databases, providing things, Base44 is fantastic. It's also really easy in Base44 to connect your own domain. You simply just connect it there, go over to your host, GoDaddy, whatever, and then it's very easy. You just put in a few DNS settings, it's good. Don't know how to do it? Ask ChatGPT, it will tell it how to do it. So Base44, Lovable, amazing for building wonderful apps that are able to be storing user data. So say if it's an app that needs inputs, that's the place to do it. Google AI Studio is fantastic. Say for instance, you wanted to build an app that said, allow users to take a photo of something in the real world that's static, that's still image, and turn it into a video. Easy to do, but we need to come back to Google AI Studios again, and this is where Google AI Studios differs from Base44, is that Base44 also is great for new mug users like us, because all of the credit systems are in there. If you want to build an app in Google AI Studio that requires image generation, image editing, video generation, text to speech, AI Studio is free, but these things are not free, and you need to connect up an API key to Google Cloud Console. And it's very easy to do, but you just need to know that for Base44 and Lovable, that's already there. You're paying for it. You get your user credits and you get your integration credits as part of your plan. They're expensive compared to actual other ChatGPT or Google AI credits. They're much more expensive, but in Google AI Studio, you need to set up a Google Cloud billing account and you need to create a project. You need to connect that cloud billing account. All this stuff's on YouTube. You can find it out. All I'm doing is telling you the differences between these things. So if you set up a Google Cloud account, then you can set up a billing account on that. You connect the two to a project. Then when you build these API and when you build these apps in Google Studio, you connect that API to the app, and then the billing is done through Google Cloud, and Google Cloud will charge you for all of the services that are happening. It's much cheaper to do that than it is to do the vibe coders like Base and Lovable. But the problem is here is, and you set limits, and Google will charge you based as a new user. They'll charge you quickly and only a little bit, so you'll know it's happening. But say, for instance, you create an app that is one we said, to turn pictures of the real world into videos that you can post on social media. Then if 50,000 people use it in a week, you're going to have to pay for all of those video generation credits, and that's going to cost you a bit of money. So it's good if you can monetize it and it's already there and that sort of stuff. But bear in mind that with Google AI Studio, you need to have a Google Cloud account if you want to do anything good, and you need to set up a billing account. You need to link the project to the billing account, and then when you go into the app, you connect your API key to that, so that you've built your app, it's got an API key, it connects to your Google Cloud, it connects to the project connects to the billing account. And so that way, when a user logs on, they can do it, they can use your app, but you're paying for that user to produce those assets. So to sum it all up, Base44 and Lovable and those sort of apps are better for new users to create apps that do the things that we want them to do, because all the functions are built into these apps. They've got them, they're holistic packages that do everything. So they're really the place to do. And I believe that these are going to grow really quickly, though I suspect Base44 is eventually just going to be Wix, but that's an aside. And that will be an amazing development, incidentally. But anyway, coming back to it, because the weakness of Base44 and Lovable is they don't have drag and drop editors, so you're a bit at the whim and mercy of them as to what they look like. You can do a little bit, but it costs you a lot of credits to make them look good. But so Base44 and Lovable are probably the best ones for mug users to create apps that have sophisticated function. Also, because in their dashboard, it's very easy to do. There's a lot more stuff in their dashboard that is accessible to a mug, like in terms of you can debug things, you can find error codes, you can look at the code, you can look at your databases, you can adjust settings in there. Adjusting the privacy settings is all really easy. The dashboard in these apps is fantastic. The weakness of them is that you're stuck with them and you're paying, but it's not that bad. Google AI Studio is fantastic if you are creating apps that you want to use Google services. If you want them to use Nano Banana, if you want to have text to speech, if you want to create things that bring videos to life, these are fantastic. That's really what it's for. It's also fantastic because if your app grows, you can very easily take it to your own server. It's almost impossible to take your app off Base44. But the weakness here with Google AI Studio is the fact that it doesn't have inbuilt database functions. You can do it, as I said, it's not impossible, and it's quite easy if you're the next level along to integrate these databases, but it does take a bit of work. The other weakness with Google AI Studios is there's no real dashboard that interfaces with the code. Whereas in Base44, there's a really nice dashboard to interface, integrate, learn, move, modify the code. And doing little extra things that you want to do, it's really easy to find them. In Google AI Studios, it's very easy to find them, but you've got to have a little bit of the language of coding. You've got to understand how the different files work, components work, index work, pages work. You've got to know a little bit about that, because you've got to go to those views and then you directly edit the code. They've both got Gitly integration, so that's fine. The other benefit of Base44, they have an amazing user interface database, and you can assign permissions to your app so easy, and you can build an admin dashboard in your apps so easily. So if you are the admin, you don't even need to go back into the back end or the app. You don't need to go into Base44 itself. You can build into your app a function for an admin to go in and control the app. You can even assign user roles inside that. So you can build functions into your Base44 app. So once you've hit publish, you can do things like control users. You can do that. It's very hard to create user controls in Google AI Studio apps. You need to be a little bit more sophisticated. You can't just, so say for instance, you wanted to build an app that does a lot of different things, but only certain people should be able to do certain things, then Base44 makes this a dream, so easy. Google, you need to go to the next level to do things. Google is basically, write my app, plug, play, gone for a mug user. For these sophisticated things, you need to go back and forth. And I'm going to give you the number one tip for using all of these, including Google AI Studios. Get your prompt right from the start. Spend time writing your prompt in a Word document, write it all down, write everything you want the app to do, everything. Think about it as deep as you possibly can. Go hard. Go really hard into writing what you think you want your app to do. And don't go into the chat for these apps yet. Write your app. Write everything you want it to do. Then copy and paste that into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to work through you on this app and say what you want, and then ask you questions. Ask it, even talk to it. Talk to ChatGPT about what you want your app to do. And then ask ChatGPT to write the major prompt to build the app. Because the more you can build everything you want in the first prompt, the better your app will be. Otherwise, you'll spend dollars and time debugging these apps and going through everything. The better you can get your first prompt in there, the easier it is to go to build your app. And because when you start going, oh, that didn't work, I'm going to change it over a little bit, it writes bugs into the system, and then you've got to spend time rewriting these bugs out of the system and sometimes, like, if you have one credit in these things, that credit can be the full prompt for the entire app, like a massive prompt that asking you to build basically the most complex website in the world, and it does it. But it's also one credit to say, can you please change this color to blue? So getting your prompt right is an imperative for these apps as well. So just do it in a Word document, get ChatGPT to work on it, chat with ChatGPT back and forth about how you want the app. You can spend half an hour chatting with ChatGPT about what you want your app to do, and then thoroughly read it, and then put that in as your first prompt. The closer you can get your app to what you want it to be on your first prompt is the best. Anyway, I know, a bit wild, but hopefully if you got something out of this, if you're a mug like me, and seriously, put a comment below and I'll answer your questions. Thanks.